Welcome back, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe, Dolph fans, if you like this video. We're going to be discussing a couple things today, and the first thing is, luckily, by the grace of God, Anthony Weaver is going to be back next year. It's looking like he's not going to accept a head coaching job until next year. He looks like he's going to be staying put with the Dolphins, which is excellent news. I'm just thinking that he kind of sees both ends, where if he does another great performance, there's going to be a lot more head coaching jobs that are much more sought out than, kind of the Saints job. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it looks like Anthony Weaver is going to be staying with the Dolphins, which is fantastic for the defense, because this defense has had just different coordinators every single year for the past 4 or 5 years, dude. It is going to be so nice to finally have a defensive coordinator for the second year in a row, because these poor guys are literally learning a defense and then the next year trashing that and learning a completely new defense every single year. It's going to be quite nice to just have Anthony Weaver come in, do what he needs to do for the second year in a row, and actually implement the defense in a better, not just learning it type of thing. So huge news by the Miami Dolphins. Again, some craziness could happen. The Saints could throw a massive contract at Anthony Weaver, but for the most part, the thing is Anthony Weaver did good, but it wasn't whoa, number one defense in the NFL. He did pretty good, but it wasn't a crazy anomaly Ben Johnson from the Lions or the Jets coach, forgot his name. But huge news to have Anthony Weaver, and possibly this next year he could really turn it up and have a top 5 defense and then get, any head coaching job that he wants coming into next year. So huge news, but we're going to go over a couple of the Senior Bowl standouts, and there's going to be, a certain person that you're going to hear me talk about for a while, because I'm already starting to form this, there's a certain player that I really want the Dolphins to get. I think it's just a perfect player, and it's just going to be a name that you're going to keep hearing. But we're going to go into PFF and kind of break down what's going on and kind of the standouts. The biggest needs that I think the Dolphins have, especially in the draft, offensive line, defensive tackle, or interior offensive line, defensive tackle, and I would even say safety. Those are kind of the tops, and then you go tight end and wide receiver. Those would be the afterthoughts, because there are some players that are going to be available in free agency that can fill the role of what you kind of need them to do. You know what I'm saying? So wide receiver, there are some guys that you can just, for right now, put them in there, see what they have for these next couple years, and, get a cheaper contract instead of just having a rookie have to come in and be that player. So again, we're going to go over this in PFF, and we'll break down, why these players are really good and the certain players that the Dolphins should look for, and my favorite at the end of it. So these are going to be the top performers from the Senior Bowl, and we're just going to go over a couple of them, and I'm going to give you my favorites so far from this Senior Bowl and who just really stood out for me. I think if you watch my previous videos, you're going to see there's just somebody that I'm really enjoying, and the name is right there. But Dillon Gabriel is a name that the Miami Dolphins kind of need to look into, because he might slip to the 4th or 5th round. And honestly, if you're looking for a quarterback that could be a backup, light a fire under Tua's butt to stay healthy, and kind of similar traits, lefty, similar stature, accuracy. That's the whole thing with Dillon Gabriel. He wasn't great, but again, if you're looking for a backup for Tua Tagovailoa that is very similar to Tua Tagovailoa, obviously, the accuracy still needs to work on, but Dillon Gabriel is going to be somebody that is someone you need to look for. The running back, Trevor Etienne, you don't really need to focus on that, just because, if we're drafting a running back, we're getting a power back. We have too many decent scat backs. Tez Johnson is a good one, but what's his name? Royals from Utah State is another great pickup. And then Jaden Higgins from Iowa State is another one that he's 6'4", big frame. But this is kind of the prototypical Miami Dolphins wide receiver, just because super fast, shifty, all of that stuff. But I again, if you're going to draft a receiver, it's probably going to be in the 4th round, unless you get rid of Tyreek Hill. You're not getting another small receiver. And if you are, you're going Xavier Restrepo. I don't think you go Tez Johnson. This is a name that we should really be focusing in on. Just because depending on where he falls, Elijah Arroyo, obviously, University of Miami, so he's got my stamp of approval. But, very Jonnu Smith-like, very Gesicki-like, but a bigger Gesicki, I would say. 6'5", 250. Just he's a special talent. And again, if you are thinking of maybe moving up to go and get him to have like someone behind Jonnu Smith, because that's an option as well. We want to do the run game. Jonnu Smith is a good tight end. We didn't really have a tight end behind him. What we could possibly do, if you check out Elijah Arroyo, is you could possibly do 2 receivers and then your big men are tight ends, kind of similar to what the New England Patriots did with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. You just more focus on having 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and you're constantly in a run formation just because, you need your 2 tight ends out there. And he can also block. So that's kind of the big key here, is he can learn under Jonnu Smith, and you can have 2 receiving threat tight ends going through the middle, and he could definitely split out and go to the X spot, in certain packages or whatever, something that Mike McDaniel wants to come up with. So this is a very interesting name to kind of go over, because he looked really good at the Senior Bowl, catching a lot of great passes. I don't know. I just think if you're going for tight end, Elijah Arroyo is the way to go. Anthony Belton from NC State. I don't think we go for a tackle, but, he's pretty nice looking prospect. 345 pounds, but he moves pretty agile. Just kind of another one of those where the one-on-ones, he looked really good. Let's see if I can show you something here. This is him right here. Basically kind of just looked really good. When you're looking at tackles, you're going to get pushed back a little bit. But again, he looked really good at NC State. If we're going for tackle, which I don't think we are, or if he could move in, this is my guy. This is the dude. Gray Zabel. Guy looked phenomenal. This is going to be the dude that I really want the Dolphins to pick up in the 2nd round. He has a 2nd round grade on him. He just looks phenomenal. He looks like the type of guard that the Dolphins need. I mean, Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, they're obviously watching this stuff. You see a guy like this, you think of Cody Malk, someone that you didn't go for, and he looks really good. This is the guard that you need to replace Robert Hunt. This is the guy that's going to step in, and I truly believe that he's going to step in and do a phenomenal job. He was stonewalling people the whole entire practice. He looked phenomenal in practice. And these are guys that, 1st round picks and all that. And he's making them, sit on the floor. Like, he looked incredible. I can't say enough about this guy, Gray Zabel. He's even got the attitude of that offensive. Like, if you want to have the offensive line attitude, mustache, mean guy, he's that type of dude. Kind of reminds me, a little bit better. I wouldn't compare him exactly, but kind of like a Richie Incognito type of guy. Big, mean, just a solid offensive lineman. I think you're going to get massive value if you get him in the 2nd round. And you're going to get a plug-and-play guard on that left side. And then I think you're pretty much solidified. You sign Isaiah Wynn. If you get Gray Zabel in this draft, you're going to hear a lot about him coming through these next couple weeks into the draft, just because this is probably one of my favorite players coming into the draft. I think he is phenomenal. He's at the perfect spot. He's in the 2nd round. He's in a small school. He's not, highly touted. After the Senior Bowl, people are going to know him a little bit more, but guy just looks phenomenal, man. He looks really good. This is another one. Darius Alexander looked incredible. Was getting past people. 310. If you look at him, he doesn't look like he's one of those guys that is huge, but again, very agile. Another really good interior defensive lineman that would help, what's his name? Zach Sealer, being able to get to the quarterback. He's another phenomenal pick. I think that Darius Alexander from Toledo, another small school, again, kind of a toss-up on what happens in the first round. But, two guys that are going to go in the second round probably. He might go in the first, but two guys that definitely Dolphins have to be keeping their eye on. Shamir Stewart from Texas A&M. If you want an edge rusher, he's a first-round pick. If you want a guy, I don't think we get edge rushers. I think we have way too many of them, or not way too many. I think we have a lot of edge rushers. So I don't think that's what we're going for. I think you need interior on both sides of the ball. But yeah, and then Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame. Again, I don't know if we get one of these guys just because the first two picks have to be the trenches. It has to be a statement. You have to be able to make a statement in this draft showing that you're going to go for the trenches. Favorite dude right now. I think I forgot to mention Walter Nolan, which, he's going to be a first-round pick. Looked really good as well. But Gray Zabel, man, North Dakota State, dude looks like Cody March, just, not as not as hicky. But, yeah, again, this is going to be a dude that the Dolphins, they have. I just would not, if he's there in the second round, just wouldn't understand why you wouldn't try and get him. It's mind-boggling because Chris Greer has skipped on a lot of players to get different players, but this guy matches everything that you want to do. I mean, big, tough, aggressive offensive lineman, very shifty, can move around, can pull really well. Of course he's a rookie, so there's going to be stuff that he needs to learn, but this dude is going to be a good NFL offensive lineman. You give him 2 or 3 years, this dude is going to be good. I even think that you can put him in the first year, and he will be able to do a much better job than Robert Jones or Liam Eichenberg. And as he's going, he will be next to, hopefully Teron Armstead and Aaron Brewer, so he'll be able to learn between those two guys. And again, big dude that's going to allow Tua to not get pushed back immediately in the pocket. Now, of course, I would say get some free agents, and we'll go over that in later videos to solidify this offensive line. But for the most part, man, this dude looks like the guy that the Miami Dolphins need to get. The Miami Dolphins need an interior guy. They need to draft one. They need to make a statement. Like I said, they need to make a statement for this year and literally just first 2 rounds focus on the trenches. They need to literally make a statement saying, we've learned what we've done wrong and we're trying to fix it. If you don't go, obviously, if you can't get a good defensive tackle in the first round, go Malachi Starks and get a safety. But for the most part, again, I just truly believe that you have to make a statement with these first 2 rounds and just get the trenches. You have to showcase that you've understood that the problem is that you're not addressing that and that you're going to this year, because Tyreek Hill is talking about it. A lot of players are talking about you're going for these gadget guys and you're not getting the mean dogs that this team needs to be, and it's, again, if Mike Medeo wants to make a statement, this team is kind of emulating you. You're soft and quirky and, kind of stupid. And it was funny for the first year or so, but now it's getting old and you need to start becoming a football coach and you need to start building a football team. And again, getting that pickup of Gray Zabel, getting a defensive tackle, but especially getting Gray Zabel's making that statement that you're trying to build a football team. You're trying to build a tough, mean football team that will stand up against these physical teams and be able to turn this thing around. But as always, guys, my coffee's ready. Fins up, baby. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Love you all. Peace.